Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is the first lesson of our industrial electrical training series. We'll begin with the basics and in upcoming videos gradually move step by step into more advanced topics. In today's lesson, we'll build one of the most important circuits in industrial electricity: how to start and stop an electric motor using push buttons and a contactor. First, I'll introduce each component and explain how it works. Then we'll wire the control circuit together and test it live. By the end of this video, you'll understand push buttons and contactors, and you'll be able to wire and test the control circuit yourself. In the next video, we'll complete the power circuit and finish the project in full detail. Let's get started. For this setup, I've prepared two push buttons, one normally open and one normally closed, a contactor, a three-phase motor, and a circuit breaker. Together, we'll design a simple circuit to control the motor step by step. Let's start with the normally open NO push button. As you can see, this is a normally open push button, and here is its schematic symbol. In its normal state, the contact is open, so no current flows. When I press the button, the contact closes and connects both sides together. When I release my hand from the start button, the contact returns to its normal state and opens, disconnecting the current. Normally open contacts are usually green in color, and in diagrams they are labeled with the terminal numbers 3 and 4. Here, number 3 is the input, and number 4 is the output. Technically, it doesn't matter which side you use as input or output, but since we always work based on diagrams, we follow the standard convention. Also, the letters NO are written on the push button itself, meaning normally open. Now, let's build a simple circuit with this push button. Here, I have a signal light. I connect one side of the lamp to the output terminal of the push button and the other side to the neutral of the power supply. In the normal state, the circuit is open, so current cannot flow to the lamp. When I press the button, the circuit closes, current flows to the lamp, and it turns on. When I release the button, the circuit opens again and the lamp turns off. Now let's look at the real demonstration. In this video, you can see exactly the same circuit we just discussed. When I press the button, the circuit closes, current flows, and the lamp turns on. When I release the button, the lamp turns off. This is how a normally open push button works. It's very simple. Instead of saying normally open, we often just say NO. In most cases, we use an NO push button to start a circuit. Let's continue with the normally closed NC push button. As you can see, this is a normally closed push button, and here is its schematic symbol. In its normal state, the contact is closed, so current flows through the circuit without pressing the button. When I press the button, the contact opens and breaks the circuit, so current cannot flow. When I release the button, the contact goes back to its normal closed state and the current flows again. Normally closed contacts are usually red in color, and in diagrams they are labeled with the terminal numbers 1 and 2. Here, terminal 1 is considered the input, and terminal 2 the output. Just like with NO push buttons, technically you can swap them, but we follow the standard numbering in diagrams. Also, the letters NC are written on the push button itself, meaning normally closed. Now, let's build a simple circuit using this NC push button. Here, I have a signal lamp connected through the button. In the normal state, since the contact is closed, the lamp stays on. When I press the button, the contact opens, the circuit breaks, and the lamp turns off. Once I release the button, the contact closes again, and the lamp turns on. Now let's look at the real demonstration. In this video, you can see the same behavior. In the normal state, the lamp is on. Pressing the button opens the circuit, and the lamp turns off. Releasing the button closes the circuit again, and the lamp turns on. This is the principle of a normally closed push button. In industrial circuits, NC push buttons are commonly used as stop buttons because pressing them interrupts the current and stops the machine safely. Now that we've learned about push buttons, let's move to the next important device in industrial circuits, the contactor. Push buttons are great for sending control signals, but they can't directly switch large loads like motors, heaters, or big machines. They're only part of the control circuit. To actually control the power circuit, for example, to turn a three-phase electric motor on or off, we need a stronger switching device. That's where the contactor comes in. This is a contactor, and here you can see its schematic symbol. Let's go through it step by step and discuss how each part works. A contactor is an electromechanical switch designed to handle high currents. A contactor has three main parts. Coil control side. This is where we send a small control signal, usually through a push button or stop button. The coil controls the contactor. The coil can have different voltages, like 24-volt DC or 110-volt 230-volt AC, depending on your control circuit. It's important to pick the correct voltage. If you use the wrong one, the contactor won't work or you could damage it. Main contacts power side. These are heavy-duty switches that carry the actual power to a load. When the coil is energized, a small control current flows through it, creating a magnetic field. This magnetic field pulls the main contacts together, closing the power circuit. As a result, current flows to the load, for example, a motor, and it starts running. When the coil is de-energized, the magnetic field disappears and the contacts return to their normal open state. This breaks the power circuit and the load stops. Note: the main contacts of a contactor are not limited to motors. You can connect any high power load to them, such as heaters, pumps, or lighting circuits. Main contacts are designed for high current, ranging from a few amps up to several hundred amps, depending on the motor or load. So, it's important to choose a contactor with a current rating that matches your motor's requirements. On a contactor, the input terminals are usually labeled with odd numbers, like 1, 3, 5, or sometimes L1, L2, L3, and the output terminals are labeled with even numbers, like 2, 4, 6, or T1, T2, T3. Technically, it doesn't matter which terminal you use as input or output. However, you should always follow the schematic and manufacturer's labeling to wire it correctly. Inputs and outputs cannot be connected randomly, they must match the design. Auxiliary contacts. These are smaller contacts built into the contactor, called auxiliary contacts. Usually, there is one normally open NO and one normally closed NC contact. The NO contact is labeled 13 and 14, and the NC contact is labeled 21 and 22. Auxiliary contacts are used only for control purposes, not for switching the main power. You can use them for things like control signals, interlocks, or feedback in your control circuits. Why we use contactors? A contactor works like a bridge between a small control circuit and a big power circuit. This means we can use small push buttons to safely control big machines and motors. Now, let's wire the push buttons and the contactor coil to build the control circuit. At the same time, I'll complete the control circuit diagram so you can clearly see how everything connects. Step 1. The stop button. We start with the NC normally closed stop button. One side connects to the control power supply, for example, 230 volt AC or 24 volt DC, depending on the coil. The other side connects to the start button. Step 2. The start button. The start button is NO normally open. One side connects to the output of the stop button, and the other side connects to the contactor coil at terminal A1. Step 3. Return path. The second coil terminal, A2, connects back to the neutral if AC or negative if DC of the control supply. How it works. When you press the start button, the circuit closes, current flows through the coil, and the contactor energizes. The main contacts close, allowing current to flow to the loads such as a motor or any other connected device. When you release the start button, the control circuit opens, cutting power to the coil. The coil de-energizes, the contactor's main contacts open, and the load stops. In simple terms, the motor or any connected device turns off as soon as you release the button. Now, let's check this circuit on real hardware. Here, I've connected the NC stop button, NO start button, and the contactor coil exactly as we discussed in the control diagram. When I press the start button, the coil energizes and the contactor pulls in. You can see it activating. When I release the start button, the coil de-energizes and the contactor opens again. This type of circuit is called a momentary control circuit. That means the load only activates while you hold the button. When you release it, the load deactivates. Momentary circuits like this are used in industry for testing, safety, or situations where temporary activation is required. In this part, I haven't connected any load yet. I just want to show how the contactor works in the control circuit. In the next video, we'll add the power circuit and connect a motor, so you'll see how the contactor controls a real load safely and effectively. Now it's time to complete the circuit. In the previous circuit, we had a momentary control, meaning the contactor only stayed energized while we pressed the start button. To make the circuit stay on even after releasing the start button, we add a latching contact, also called a holding contact, in parallel with the start button. This holding contact keeps the control circuit closed after the start button is released, so the contactor remains energized and the load stays on until we press the stop button. Here's how to wire it and show it in the control diagram. I connect the output of the stop button to the input of the auxiliary NO contact of the contactor. Then, the output of this auxiliary contact goes to the coil of the contactor. Here's what happens. When I press the start button, the contactor energizes. Its main contacts close, powering the load, and its normally open auxiliary contact also closes. Now, current can flow to the coil from two paths, one through the start button and one through the auxiliary contact. When I release the start button, the coil remains energized through the auxiliary contact. This is why we call it a holding or latching contact. The contactor will stay energized, and the load will stay on until the stop button is pressed, which disconnects power and returns the auxiliary contact to its normal state. Now, let's test this circuit on real hardware. I've wired the start and stop push buttons with the contactor coil and added the auxiliary holding contact as we discussed. In the normal state, the contactor is off. When I press the start button, the contactor energizes, the main contacts close, and the load or motor would start running. Even after I release the start button, the contactor remains energized because of the auxiliary holding contact. This keeps the circuit closed and the load on. Finally, when I press the stop button, the coil loses power, the contactor de-energizes, and the auxiliary contact returns to its normal state. The circuit opens and the load stops. This is the complete latching control circuit, and it's widely used in industrial systems to start and stop motors or other loads safely and reliably. We've completed the control circuit in this video. In the next lesson, we'll focus on the three-phase motor, how to power it, protect it, and complete this motor control circuit. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue the series, please subscribe to my channel and share it with others. Your support motivates me to create more practical and easy-to-follow electrical training videos.